Salve a tutti, sono Almarok e benvenuti in un nuovo video. Oggi siamo qui per fare un'intervista a Nagash, famoso per essere stato bassista di Dimmu Borgir, per essere membro di The Kovenant e per essere membro dei Troll. Prima di iniziare ringrazio Nagash per la sua grande disponibilità, vi invito a mettere un like, a iscrivervi e vi auguro buona visione.
I'm Almarok. I'm here for a new video interview with Nagash. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Nagash is the former member of Dimmu Borgir, a member of Kovenant, and member of Troll. So, thank you for your time.
No problem.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's a bit cold now, but so much for fucking global warming. But yeah, I'm fine.
Why you started to do music and your best influences, and why you started to do black metal?
Well, when I started playing, there was no such thing as black metal.
Mm-hmm.
There was only maybe Venom, but they only had a name, black metal, on the song. But started when I was like 12 and a half, 13 years old, I guess. And we were basically trying to play death metal. But when you're 13 years old, you don't sound very much like Corpse Grinder from the Cannibal Corpse, for example. You sound very much like instead of this. Didn't know about tuning the guitars up and down, so we were basically trying to play death metal, and then it turned out it was black metal. But yeah, I started in, I guess I was 13, you could say. I got into it because I was very much into, from the early age, started getting into like Metallica, things like this, and then it got harder and harder and harder, of course, as time moved on. When I was very young, like 8, 9 years old, something like this. But by the time I was like 12-ish, I suddenly heard like some old school death metal bands and like old like South American kind of stuff, and you know, like old like German trash death metal bands, things like this. And it just escalated from there. And turns out we were like part of creating black metal, I guess you could say as well, without knowing it. Mm-hmm. So, but my main reason for getting into extreme music is I've always been a very extreme person, even from a very young age. It's like, as far as I can remember, it's always been like horror movies, the tougher music, the better, like the whole rebellion rock and roll attitude, like even like this church stuff in school, I was very much against it for reasons I didn't even understand yet, but so it just progressed from there, I guess.
You are remembered for your work with Dimmu Borgir. So tell me about your best memories with the band, and I saw you have the new projects with past members, if I remember well. Can you talk about it?
Depends what you mean by past members from Dimmu Borgir. It's like we had some tryout stuff, a new project with the Hellhammer and Mystis, ex-Dimmu Borgir keyboard player. I think Håkon, his name was, bass player from Suspiria. Knut, Arcturus guitarist. We just had like just tested some stuff out, but it kind of fell apart, as sometimes these things happen. So, but it made me get back in touch with you know, like the old guys again. So we're talking about, we're meeting up now and talking about like doing some stuff again and things like this. About Dimmu Borgir, I started with basically with the Kovenant, because I lived in the countryside. I have now moved back to the countryside, same city. And we used to travel to the capital, to Oslo, to sell our demo tapes and things like this. And I remember Shagrat worked at, what's it called, Hot Records, like a metal store in Oslo. And they were selling our demo tapes. And one day he asked me, like, do you want to hear the new Dimmu Borgir album? Because they were just recording Stormblast at that time. I listened to it and I said, like, oh, sounds cool. Sounds interesting. And he says, like, well, we need a bass player. Do you want to join? And then I tested out one rehearsal and I was like a member. This was like maybe in 1996, I guess. 95, 96. And I have so many memories with Dimmu Borgir. I really couldn't tell you one specific great memory, but there are just so many of them. It's just like depends which type of memory do you want. Do you want like a funny one, like a shocking one, like something like this? But there's been many crazy things, like setting the stage on fire, ending up in the hospital with second-degree burns on my hands because of some mistakes with breathing fire, and coming in with corpse paint and fake blood, and all the nurses freaking out and calling the police, things like this. It's a lot of crazy things. Like former drummer Sjodal Borgir, we played at some big festival in the Netherlands. I think it was Dynamo Festival or something. Everybody drunk, and we're trying to leave the festival. And I remember Sjodal, the drummer, he had stolen an ice cream truck. And suddenly he came driving it towards the bus, and it's like, come on, we have to go. The police are coming. Let's leave. You know, like crazy things like this. But there's all kinds of memories, like meeting like early guys before they were famous and things, hanging out together. They were coming to Oslo, things like this. Like so there's some. I could write a book about this stuff. Not that I'm going to, but I could.
Yeah. But your recording with Dimmu Borgir, where is for you your best recording with Dimmu Borgir?
My best recording with Dimmu Borgir?
Yeah, your best album. For you, the best album you have recorded with Dimmu Borgir.
Hard question. It would have to be Enthroned Darkness or Spiritual Black Dimensions. But Enthroned Darkness, Triumphant, we basically all created together. Wrote most of the music together, things like this. Spiritual Black Dimensions, I wrote, I don't know, maybe 60% or more of that album. I wrote half the lyrics. So also Spiritual Black Dimensions is actually a sentence from a Kovenant song from Nexus Polaris. If you read the lyrics, you will see Spiritual Black Dimensions in there. That's where it got the title, the name. I'm not sure. I would have to say Spiritual Black Dimensions, maybe.
Start Kovenant is a symphonic black metal project, but at a certain point of your career, you started to record industrial sound and electronic sound. Why this choice?
Well, you can blame Fenris from Darkthrone. He introduced me to electronic music, techno, Goa trance, things like this, and I got very much into it. This was like in mid-90s. But it's not like we decided to do this. It's just like every time we do a Covenant album, it's always different. I don't like to do the same album twice with Covenant. That's why everyone's different. First one is symphonic black metal. Second one is more classical power metal, extreme metal. Seti is more gothic, rock, electronic, industrial. I don't know if you heard Aria Galactica demo that leaked onto the internet many years ago. It's also different again. With Covenant, it's always different. It was never like a conscious choice, like we sit down and say like, okay, we're going to make a industrial black metal album now. We didn't think about this. We just create music. Whatever influences us at that time is what the music sounds like. So, but I remember Fenris taking me to some techno trance shops in Oslo, and it's like, oh, you should listen to this. This is fucking killer. This is awesome. Blah blah blah. And I was like, no, not really. Well, then I heard some stuff, and he also was a DJ at that time. So he gave me some mixtapes that he did, and I listened to it, and I was like, fuck, this is actually pretty evil. And if you put guitars on it, maybe it will sound even more evil. So that's just how that happened. It wasn't like a conscious choice. It's just whatever happens.
So you have a project in future for Trolls and from Covenant?
If I have other projects?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have a new album, for example, for Troll or for Covenant?
Yeah, a new Troll album is coming now in December. A new one. I haven't played music for maybe 10 years or so. Because I stopped basically everything because I had my priorities changed. So I didn't feel like I wanted to do music for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But I've done a lot of things that people don't know about as well. I don't know if you heard the Nocturnal Breed. It's a Norwegian thrash black metal band. I played drums on the first album, for example, but under a different name. Not as Nagash, but another name. I played in a band called Crowhead, which is kind of like a Norwegian gothic metal band. There's so much stuff I've done over the years. Guest appearances, I showed up on the things. But I do have a lot of new projects going on, for sure. Also talking to Hellhammer and Mystis, people like this, about some new interesting ideas for stuff. So we will see what happens.
In your opinion, how many things have changed in black metal scene where you have started from nowadays?
I've said this many years ago. I knew it already then. It's become more of a business for many bands. It's not about the music or the art or the philosophy anymore. It's basically about business. Instead of getting a normal job and going to McDonald's or working there, they prefer to do this. And even though many band members hate each other, they still do it. So, but there are still a lot of bands who are still like true, I guess you can call it, true to the philosophy, true to the art form that black metal actually is. It's supposed to be art. It's not supposed to be like your grandmother and your 10-year-old daughter is not supposed to be listening to this. So it hasn't changed so much in the music side of it, but philosophically, I think it has divided into two. The people who do it for the art and the people who do it for the money. I've never been the person to do it for money. So, which our old label, Nuclear Blast, can tell you, because they never paid us anything for Kovenant. So we never got anything for Kovenant, so we basically did it for free, even though we won two Grammy Awards and things like this. So,
what is your philosophy in your music? You know, in black metal was known before, talk about Satanism and etc. But what is your philosophy in your lyrics?
Well, the thing is, like, I remember Ishan from Emperor once said, you cannot play black metal without a satanic starting point. But I think it depends highly upon what you consider as satanic, because it's different for so many people. But I do agree with him that because black metal has always been dark. It is not supposed to be like top 30 hit lists and things like this. I prefer it to be not necessarily underground, as in small underground, but I prefer it to be, not so mainstream. Because I think it's supposed to be on the edge of human consciousness and, like I said, like the philosophy of it, the extreme side of it. It's supposed to explore the extremes of humanity. And you can't do that if you're trying to like imitate Motorhead or Metallica or even like some fucking pop music or something like this. So no matter what I did, I always did it extremely. Even with Kovenant, when we did it like this electronic kind of style and things like this, we always went to the extreme. That's why we had so many fucking people hate us in the Norwegian black metal scene, because we changed and we basically forced them to change. And today you have so many fucking Norwegian bands who are doing the same thing that we did then, but now it's okay. You have like Dødheimskar as an example. They also doing like electronic stuff, techno stuff. Even Dimmu Borgir is doing it now, like certain elements of it. So I think like music-wise, it doesn't matter. As long as there is metal guitars and extreme vocals, that's fine. But I think the philosophy of it, behind it, you cannot call it black metal per se, unless you have a satanic foundation behind it. But as I said, it depends what you put in the definition of Satanism or Satan, because it varies for so many people.
An advice for people like me, because I have my own band with my girlfriend, who won't start a music career nowadays?
What can I say? It's never say no to an opportunity. That's the best advice I can give anyone. If you want to do something, you do it. You push forward. You don't sit in your room and complain about how other bands are being so commercial or they're being so famous or whatever. But you can be there too. It doesn't mean you have to be like AC/DC, like famous, you know what I mean? So, but the best advice I can say is just like Just go for it and never say no. If you know what I mean, like music-wise, if you have a chance to do like a music video, or you go on a concert or a festival or tour with someone, or have a chance to record something, you should just do it. Don't sit on your ass and do nothing. It's also the philosophy of, as I see it, behind black metal is also to push the boundaries and push the extremes. And I never cared if it sounds like somebody else or whatever, because you should just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Always. So best advice I can say is just like, basically don't say no to an opportunity.
So thank you. Good luck for the new project, and thank you for your time. And good luck.